From now on, we are enemies. You and I.
I've been working on this idea of a video for about 5 or 6 years. And it all started when Whisper and I were talking about Strider's innate climbing damage boost, climbing speed boost, and why only Strider. The other vocations must also have an innate, hidden ability that the others do not have. So, trying to figure that out over the last 5 or 6 years. Start testing everything, thinking about each vocation, and I already knew Mystic Knight had a longer iframe window for perfect block, so I set that aside with the idea that that could be Mystic Knight's innate ability. And I knew Sorcerer could Spellsync, so I set Sorcerer aside, thinking that could be what Sorcerer is. And then I always noticed that Assassin ran faster than Magic, Archer, or Strider whenever I would switch between them. So I tested that, and I couldn't replicate it always, so I was confused, moved on. And then I really began testing everything. This was probably about 2018, 2 years after the Strider conversation. At that point, Whisper has vanished, unfortunately. And then I reached out to Virgorio and asked him what he thought maybe these other vocation hidden abilities could be. And I continued testing, thinking, everything. I tested everything that I could think of. Damage dealt, damage received. Does one vocation cause more damage while solo or while with bonds? Does one vocation receive less damage while solo or with bonds or while in critical health? I had to test all of this with no augments so that there's no interference. If you got an augment and then it turns out that augment is what it was. Does one vocation heal more or replenish stamina faster? Does one vocation use less stamina? Eventually, I had Fighter. I had Strider. I had Sorcerer. I had Warrior. I had Mystic Knight. And I had Assassin. I was only left with Mage, Ranger, and Magic Archer, trying to figure those out. And now here we are. About 2 months ago, I began testing everything again, and more. And even more things like throw blast damage, inventory space, elemental resistances, lantern radius, lantern duration, tons of shit. I was thinking that Assassin just simply ran faster, but then I noticed it was actually leg strength. Assassin automatically has leg strength, and Mystic Knight automatically has prescience. So the hybrids take an augment from the basic vocations. That was the pattern. And so now I knew that Magic Archer would have a Mage augment. I had already tested all of the Mage augments, but I tested them again and again, and then I saw it for Magic Archer. So now I only had Ranger and Mage to figure out. Then in my testing, I now had to cheat to enable all vocations' capability to use all and any weapons so that I can test Anodyne healing, Mage versus Magic Archer or Mystic Knight, just to see if Mage had something to do with holy healing. And I also missed something when testing. I was testing the vocation, assuming that the vocation had the code for the innate hidden bonus. I did not think to try weapon specific. Mystic Knight is the only vocation that can wield the magic shield. Mystic Knight had prescience augment. The magic shield just simply has more iframes. For perfect blocking the window of opportunity, it's the shield rather than Mystic Knight. It's not a code for Mystic Knight, it's just the weapon. If I were to use the magic shield as warrior or magic archer, I would still have that larger window for perfect blocking. And also sorcerer, Spellsync is not specifically with sorcerer, but instead with the archstaff, the weapon specific, not vocation. Which leads me to ranger's innate ability, or the longbow's innate ability. And then all I had was mage. So I tested mage. And I kind of gave up on mage. I think I found it, but I was pretty much done testing these things. Again, 5 or 6 years, and recently a lot more. Everything over and over again. I was exhausted with testing. So maybe I'll test mage again later, but I think I may have it. So whether it be a vocation code or a weapon code, it doesn't matter. The game's weapons exclusive to vocations make it a vocation specific. And then now with patterns for the hybrid vocations, that they take an augment from the basic vocations. Assassin takes leg strength from Strider, Mystic Knight takes prescience from Fighter, and Magic Archer takes intervention from Mage, or at least a 10 to 20% 10 to 20% of intervention. Because intervention pretty much makes you never get blind from Garm. And I tested Mage against Garm getting blind 10 times, he got blind. And I tested Magic Archer 10 times, he only got blinded 8, so 20%. Additionally, catching fire from Ingle was a similar scenario. Mage caught fire 10 times out of 10. Magic Archer caught fire 9 times out of 10. That might need further testing, because I only tested a few scenarios with Mage versus Magic Archer with the intervention in mind. The basic vocations are specific to the vocation role. Strider is climber, so Strider gets climbing boost. Fighter has a lot of iframe skills and needs iframes, so he gets a slightly larger iframe window for iframe skills, such as Full Moon Slash or Broad Slash. And then Mage is healing and support. I've got nothing associated with that yet. The only thing I've noticed with Mage is Mage may take less damage from holy spells, like Fear from Dark Bishop. In my testing, Mage took less damage from that spell compared to Magic Archer. Warrior is all about stagger and knockdown. Warrior's augments are all about stagger and knockdown, and stagger resistance, and Warrior gets innately as the Warrior vocation, not necessarily weapon specific, but Warrior innately gets stagger resistance while attacking. Specifically, while you're charging an attack, like the Audacity augment, Warrior will resist more stagger compared to the other vocations. And then Ranger is all about debilitations and stamina. I tested all of the stamina possibilities, but it's debilitating arrows. Ranger's Longbow will debilitate 25% faster than Assassin's or Strider's Shortbow will. So sleep arrows, silence arrows, oil, so on. The Longbow does not gain torpor faster compared to the Shortbow. It's just the specialty arrows that have a 25% faster rate. And then Sorcerer's Archstaff and Sorcerer's skills are capable of spell syncing with other sorcerers. Mage, Mystic Knight, Magic Archer cannot spell sync because they do not have those skills but also they don't have the archstaff. Weapon specific on them. Alright, now let's take a look at the examples. First up is Fighter's iframes. It's not much, but it's there. Fighter is on the left, Mystic Knight is on the right. Pay attention to the health numbers and the attack animation. And right there, Mystic Knight took damage, and then a little later, Fighter. Again, not much, but it's there. And here we have Assassin, or any vocation at the top, and Strider at the bottom. Strider gets 66% damage bonus while climbing, and uses less stamina, and climbs faster compared to all of the other vocations. Now, the only thing I found with Mage was I noticed maybe Mage takes less damage from holy spells. I compared all the vocations, I ran them through 5 rounds each, and it was pretty inconsistent with most of the vocations except for Mage. Always took less damage from the holy attack. And Warrior has stagger resistance while attacking, but more so while charging up a skill. Here, I just took stagger from a thrown object. I wasn't attacking. And here comes another one. I'll start charging, no stagger. That goes for anything, any attack. Strider here, and Ranger. Ranger uses 25% less specialty arrows to achieve sleep or silence, those kind of things. In this particular example, it required 3 arrows, while the short bow required 4. Now, that doesn't alter torpor. That is from the weapon itself, from rust, and they were the same, 2 for 2, identical. But the specialty arrows, Ranger. Sorcerer can spellsync with other sorcerers with the spells such as Bolide, Jizzle Gizzle, Fulmination, Seism Seism, and Maelstrom. I think most of us knew that already, but that must be the innate hidden secret thing for Sorcerer. Mystic Knight, his magic shield, has a larger window of opportunity for perfect block. Fighter and Assassin have a small window. Mystic Knight has a larger window, but only if the shield has a skill equipped. So any of the riposte, Demon's Wrath, Holy Wall, all those. If it's just a bare shield, it appears to be the same window of opportunity compared to Assassin and Fighter's shield. And it's not much of a window, but it's there. It's an increase. And I think that's mostly due to the regular shield just snapping faster when you use it, opposed to the magic shield, which just takes a little slower to pick it up. And Assassin has leg strength automatically. I never actually tested, maybe I did. I think if you put leg strength on Assassin, it ends up doing nothing. Now, the augment intervention is really powerful just by itself. Intervention, it will keep you safe from many debilitations, like 100%. No more blind, no more catching fire from Ingle, and many, many others. Now, Magic Archer gets intervention, but it's a small percentage, maybe 10, 20% innately. It doesn't get the full potential. I tested this with Garm, Blinding Breath. I tested this with Mage. I tested this with Magic Archer, Assassin. I tested this with Ingle. With Garm, Magic Archer was blind 8 out of 10 times, while all the others were 10 out of 10 times. And then Catch Fire from Ingle, again, 10 out of 10 for everybody. Magic Archer was only 8 out of 10. So, not the full potential, but there's something there. And that's about it. Thanks for sticking around for my little story. And I encourage you to test these things as well. I may be wrong about some of them. I do try to test apple to apple, but sometimes I miss something. And this was a lot of testing over a long period of time, retesting things over and over again. The only thing I'm not sold on is Mage quite yet, and Magic Archer. Those two are just somewhat inconsistent. But the rest of them, pretty damn solid. Alright, bye-bye.